Thank you for listening to my podcast. Like my page on Facebook for daily inspirational quotes with pictures from Indian country and for other podcast interviews with successful Native or Indigenous people. Hello, listeners. Thank you for joining me on 21st Century Native Leaders. My name is Peter Desert III, and I'm here with Toqua-Hanai Ticeahkie. T runs Strong Warrior out of Red Mesa, Arizona. Thanks for being on the show, T.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me about yourself, your tribal affiliation, and where you come from.
Well, that's a big question, long question. I'll go ahead and give a few minutes to answer it. But my name is Toqua-Hanai Ticeahkie. I'm a full-blooded Native American. I'm enrolled Comanche tribal member, but I'm also part Kiowa, part Creek, and part Cheyenne Arapaho. My family's originally from Oklahoma, but I was born and raised in Los Angeles because back in the 1960s, both my mom and dad, right after they graduated from Chilocco, they were on a relocation program, so they went out to California in the 1960s. And so in that process of time, that's where I was born, raised, went to elementary, junior high, high school, and junior college out in LA. So started playing football, lifting weights, and ended up being a fitness specialist. And now I work with high-risk patients at a hospital, ranging from diabetes to hypertension to other heart diseases. And so I feel like I'm blessed, and I'm out here in Four Corners now, and I also do Strong Warriors.
So, did your job bring you to the Four Corners area in Red Mesa?
Yes. I got hired to be the fitness specialist for the health promotions program, and like I said, I was a personal trainer already, and when that job opened up, we applied, and little did I was already doing Strong Warrior stuff, but little did I know that I feel like this is where I was meant to be. Not just helping the people, but for my family and just everything else. I love the area. I love the Four Corners. I never really considered myself an outdoorsy type person, but we live in a good area. I love it out here. Got to do a lot of things I never imagined myself doing. So we love it here, and I plan on being here for a long time.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about Strong Warrior. What is your mission with that?
Well, Strong Warriors is just a brand, and what I always try to let people know is I used to work at the Indian Hospital in Oklahoma, and one of the things I seen was the challenges was how do we get our Native people active? How do we get them to change their lifestyle, to change their behavior, which is very difficult. But once you get somebody on that path and in that positive cycle, then it's a little bit more easier to carry out. But to get them to even to that point, to even think about I should be more active or take pride in my life and my health and me, not just my tribe, not just be my native blood, but as an individual. So Strong Warriors is just it's a bridge to help people identify, use their pride of being Native, and it's not just for Natives, but it started off to get people that are proud to be Native. Okay, but what are you going to do with that pride? Like, you have a responsibility to take care of yourself and to live a healthy life. And so Strong Warriors was designed to help people that are proud to be Native, proud of their tribal heritage, but then to take another step back and say, well, what about you as an individual? Like, it's not about how you look. It's not about how strong you are, how fast you run. It's about, are you healthy, though? And are you living healthy? And that's how that was the kind of reason behind the brand. And we started focusing, for me, being a man, Strong Warriors is geared towards men. It started off that way. We had an article written on this thing back in 2010 or 11 for Native American Times, and because we had over 50 men in our tribe sign up for the Strong Warriors weightlifting club. So that was the reasons behind it. But in general, like, just trying to get people that are proud to be Native, but apply that pride to their own health and wellness. And also, it was geared in the beginning to go towards men, and that's when we started our first weightlifting club. and that's where we are today. So now we go for kids. We also have elder stuff, and then we also have, of course, the runs and walks that we help everybody with. So it's good.
That's awesome. I see your organization all over social media, the things you're doing. I saw you at a weightlifting competition promoting it. And I think that's exactly what we need for our community and our youth to get inspired to, be active. So I heard you say you played football. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't always a good student. In high school, I would say I was an underachieving student. But when somebody reached out to me, one of the coaches in varsity saw something in me at the time. I was getting, I think, a .08 GPA. I wasn't really trying in school, trying to always get into fights and stuff. Coach pulled me aside and asked me if I wanted to join the football team and to start lifting weights my freshman year in the spring. And he said, I think you might be a good football player. And so I did. And I always tell people I wasn't that great of an athlete. I wasn't that good of a player. I was just tough, and I worked hard. And lo and behold, I was able to go play junior college football. I never thought I was going to go to college until I think even after I graduated, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So football really helped get me out of that mentality, out of that mindset, and it got me to kind of look at the horizon, even though I didn't really believe I was going to go to college. Like, I never took my SAT or my ACT because in my mind, why waste my time? But because I played football and I was tough and a hard worker, like I said, I don't consider myself to be that athletic, but the junior colleges wanted me to come play because I was the strongest high school football player in LA County. My junior year, by the time I was my senior year, I was the strongest high school football player in Southern California. And so, and plus coming from the streets in LA, I was tough-minded, and I was able to play junior college football. Started off in remedial classes, and next thing I know, after 2.5 years there, I got a scholarship and went on to play at Southwestern Assembly of God University. Played there for a year, then transferred to Southern Nazarene. Played there for a year, and then played a year semi-pro, and then started playing arena football, professional arena football. And different doors opened, opportunities opened up, and I was able to play for the Saboba Warriors. They had a semi-pro team, and at the same time, they brought me out to Southern California. And after my arena team, I was bouncing back and forth between arena football and for the Saboba Warriors, which was a pretty wealthy tribe out in Southern California. So football was good to me, gave me a career, and in the meantime, gave me education. I was able to become a certified personal trainer, took all the classes, and I will say I was pretty good at it. But football has always been good to me. When I was in Fullerton, that's where I went to junior college in Orange County. One of my coaches, he was our strength and conditioning coach, and he was well known. He was a millionaire. He coached because he loved the game, and he used to always tell me, Toqua, you should take you should be personal trainer, you should be personal trainer. You already got all the classes. You already taken this class, because he was one of the lead fitness instructors, professors at the school. I used to tell him, I don't know, man, I'm just a poor Indian kid from the city. Like, to be a personal trainer, to me, I never even had a gym membership anywhere growing up, because gyms in my mind were fancy. Those were for the rich people. They cost money. And so growing up like that, I used to tell my coach, I wouldn't even know how to communicate or like coach those type of people. We're coming from different worlds. But he used to tell me, no, you'll be good. I see you in the weight room, and there's 8 to 10 of our strongest football players on our team wanting to work out with you and to train them, and I watch you. How you train them, he's all, it's good, man. You're a good trainer. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're doing. You're a hard worker. And he's a good person, and I just didn't see it at the time, but he was planting the seed that whole time. And so when I was playing college ball, they asked me what your major was, and for me it was general education. So I really didn't know what to focus on. And then lo and behold, I started thinking about, what am I going to do? What am I good at? and I never really had a real job like working at McDonald's or anything like that because I never had a computer growing up. How I grew up, so I thought about it and I thought, well, if that coach saw something in me, maybe I should try to give that a shot and be a personal trainer. And so I changed or I didn't change, but I made my major exercise science, and that's where it has led me to where I'm at right now. And I know I'm blessed. Get paid well, got a good career, and not just that, the football experience really helped me. And just the life lessons that it taught me, the hard work pays off. And some people, how do you say that? Think, well, you never made it to the NFL, man. You never made it to the CFL. But I was like, yeah, but football gave me education. Education helped me, my hard work ethic, work even harder and smarter so I could train myself to be as strong as I could be. And ended up setting a world record. So I was the strongest football player on every team I ever played for, not just in high school or junior college or semi-pro, but even in the pro arena level. And I even got to go to the NFL Combine in Dallas. Out of about 700 players, I was the strongest football player there. Got invited out to Miami for a 3-day trial. Didn't make it, but at least got the invite. Got called back to Dallas for the arena team. Tried out. Didn't make it, but at least I got to that level.
Mm-hmm.
And, so football was good to me. Weightlifting's been good to me. Fitness in general. And so one of the things I always try to tell people is being health and wellness is not a certain way to look or how strong you are. Health is just, are you happy and are you doing things that are proactive and positive in your life? And so that's kind of where I'm at as far as how I got started, Strong Warriors, and culminated into being a personal trainer, fitness specialist, coach, and a motivator. So
that's awesome.
Question, but it was a long answer. So.
No. There's some good stuff in there. So you know what? Very similar to you. I went and played college football, Division II up at Fort Lewis College. But like you know, before sports, I mean, very similar, seriously, to what you just talked about. I used to get in trouble a lot. Used to fight. Used to get suspended. And
yeah.
my 8th grade football coach said, "Hey, Des, man, you should come play football." Right, getting in trouble. He'd see me in the office.
And I would say because of your aggressiveness, obviously, because you get in fights, that's what allowed you, or it was like a tool that made you a better football player. Because when you with that type of aggressiveness, that's what you need to get at that level. Like to play D2, that's big time football. And to play at Fort Lewis, I mean, that's a high quality program. And what's one of the things I think growing up, being native, I grew up in the city. But you have to have that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get to that level, coaches aren't there to pat you on the back. They're not there to ask how you're feeling. I mean, they're there to get in your face, make sure you make the play, and kind of need that tenacity and that aggressiveness, I think, to thrive. And I think that's interesting that that's one of that you played, and at the same time, you're coming from that type of background with that aggressive naturally within you. And then, to me, it's a positive outlet for guys like us.
Yeah.
Because it allows us to use that aggression in a positive way.
Right.
And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it was crazy because, I mean, it just completely changed my life. So after my 8th grade year, my 9th grade coach was like, "So Des, where do you see yourself in 4 years?" Right? And I think that's the power of coaches, that they influence. I mean, the classroom teachers are important. But a lot of times with these kids that have issues, have come from tough backgrounds, have all this aggression, they need someone that is like them to motivate them and ask them questions about where they want to see themselves. But then I didn't think about it until my coach asked me, and I was like, well, I guess I want to play college football. So ever since then, you know, I hit the gym, worked hard, all state, you know, went north-south game in New Mexico, went to Australia for a high school all-star game. Like everything just fell in place, but it all started with the coach asking me, "Where do you see yourself?"
Yeah,
and I think that's the power of it. And you know, I respect what you did because you know I didn't make it to that level to go and try out. But the skills, the life skills, and the discipline opened doors for me. Like you said, it was sports that opened the door for me to get educated. I'm almost done with my dissertation to be for my PhD, but all that discipline from lifting to tryouts to summer camps, all that, the teamwork concept, collaboration, all goes together. So let's take this in different directions. So and I like what you said, like health and wellness is not about how you look, right? But talk with me a little bit about when you work with your clients about diet.
Well, I always tell them, well, it depends. Some of my clients are high risk, they have diabetes. And matter of fact, I was going to do a motivational video on diabetes because bringing this up, people ask about their diet. And I always try to tell them, focus on just one thing first. It might be your diet or it might be fitness, because when I'm dealing with some of my clients that are high risk, they're coming in, they've been just diagnosed, or they're on the verge of going from pills to insulin shots, and they're in desperate need. And to them, for instance, if I tell them, just drink, how much water are you drinking? Just drink more water. And that's depending on the person, that could be a mountain. Like a lot of the patients I deal with, they don't like water. I don't say they don't like water, but they drink other things as to supplement with their food. And so, and I say that because sometimes we get caught up in these big, huge, giant leaps where even my own dad, he has heart issues, and I got after him. I went back to visit him a month and a half ago in Oklahoma, and we were talking, and I was asking what his doctor said, and because he had a heart attack, he has stents in his heart, and using my dad as an example, I asked, well, how come you drinking so much diet soda? He said, well, it's diet. I said, yeah, I haven't seen you drinking water at all today. And he's like, well, I'm drinking diet soda though. That's a good thing for me because it's not regular soda. And I said, well, then he said, I do drink water. It's just you haven't seen me drink water. I said, Dad, I'm gonna tell you what I tell my patients. However much water you're drinking, just drink more of it. I'm not telling you to stop drinking Diet Coke. I'm not telling you to stop drinking your sweet tea. I'm just telling you to drink more water. Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, my approach with the healthy food is, instead of trying to tell people what not to eat, because I'm dealing with high risk patients and tend to be a little bit older, it's hard for them to change. I just tell them, well, what are you doing that is healthy, and just do more of that. So if you like to eat oranges, bananas, or zucchini, especially out here on the res, the chilies, the melons, I was like, try to eat more of that, because at least you're eating more healthier food than to try to climb those mountains, which you already know is a struggle. And I think sometimes we, as health professionals, one of the things we try to tell our patients is, all you have to do is drink more water. All you have to do is stop eating this food. All you have to do is start eating this food. And we say all you have to do, but when to that patient, if that's a mountain they have to climb, to them, they're thinking, if that's all I have to do, then what's wrong with me? Mm-hmm. Because that's an extreme challenge for me. I don't even like water. I have to put the sweetener in water just so I can drink it. And you're telling me all I have to do is drink 8 bottles a day? And I know what I mean? So yeah. For me as a health professional, I always, as a motivator, just trying to look at recognizing how hard change really is, especially for older people. And that's one of the things I don't like to tell people is like, don't do this, don't do that. What I always say, well, if you're already doing this, then just do more of it. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with the fitness part. If they're getting in and out of the car, they don't want to come to the gym, I'll say, well, if you're going to sit down and watch TV or sit down for dinner, stand up and sit back down. I said, practice those movements that you're doing every single day, so that way you can continue to do them with your own body weight. You're already able to do them because you're doing them. Just do more of them. And so that's kind of my approach to some of the high-risk patients that I have, because I think that's one of the things a lot of our health professionals, we don't focus on. Like, you go to the doctor, they come out and the doctor says, all you have to do is change this and change that. Start taking your medicine. And same thing with the nutritionists or the other diabetes educators, they tell them, all you have to do is this, all you have to do is this. But sometimes we lack empathy for our patients to, well, what if that's a mountain for them? We're
That's
downsizing it to where they're looking at themselves. Dang, what's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
That's so much of a challenge for me when they're talking about it should be easy. And so that's one of the things I try to figure out. What are they eating that's healthy? And just tell them to eat a little bit more of it before we start focusing on cutting certain things out. Because when you start that road on behavior change, it's hard. It's challenging for people. And if they take too much on their plate, sooner or later, society they're gonna collapse under the pressure. They're gonna give up. I tried that. It's too hard. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do it. Forget it. And so I just try to start with baby steps.
Right. I once heard you have to start small or start slow to go fast.
Yeah.
So.
And so I try to start with water.
Mm-hmm.
Just feel like that's one of the things I see on the res, and even in Oklahoma, a lot of people like to drink soda or pop. They'll walk out with the 44 ouncer, or when they finally do have water, they put the sweetener in it. And for me, I always try to tell them, just drink water, regular water, and drink more of it, because it goes back to being hydrated. If you keep your body hydrated, you'll function at a higher level. At the same time, sometimes you're really thirsty and you don't realize it, but you think you're hungry, and then you'll eat. Mm-hmm. And so when I tell some of my patients, before you have your meal, just drink 8 to 12 ounces of water, and then eat. And what happens? It'll kill your appetite, and then whatever you're eating, you won't eat as much. And at the same time, you're hydrating yourself to stay hydrated consistently all day. And I think that's one of the things that we don't talk about enough is hydration amongst regular people. As you being an athlete, what do the coaches always tell us? Hydrate, hydrate, mm-hmm. hydrate. Night before, the day before the game, drink a grip of water, drink a whole lot of water. Hydrate, and then when the game happens, you want to drink a lot of water, you're drinking Gatorade, trying to stay hydrated. Why? If you want to perform at the highest level, to execute at a high level. But why don't we apply that to our daily lives?
Yep.
And why don't we apply that to everyday people? You don't hear a lot of people talking about hydration and just water in general.
That's true. So how important is the mental aspect whenever you work with your clients?
It's very important, but at the same time, I realize I might get referred 10 people to their doctors that are high risk. Out of those 10 patients, 3 of them will come in and actually see me face to face. And out of those 3, it's about 50-50 because then I have to become a salesman. I have to get them to become active because a lot of them are first 3 out of 10, the other 7 don't even bother. That's not what I'm in. That's not where I'm at. I'm too old. I don't like that. I'm not going to exercise. That's work. Forget it. I'm not even going there. The other 3, I know something's wrong with me. I need help. I'm scared. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm going to go see if this person can help me. Mm-hmm. And then when they come in, I do a sales pitch and I try to get them to be active. And I say 50-50 because the other 50%, majority of them, they're having transportation issues or they have scheduling issues. They want to come, but the schedule won't allow it, or they're having transportation issues. They'll come whenever they can. And that goes back to where I was telling people, like trying to be a motivator to get them to be active because, like I said, the fact that they come through that door, I recognize that's a big step. That's like me walking into Define Fitness and going into a Zumba class for the first time, where that's not my area. That's not something I'm comfortable with. That's not something I'm familiar with. That's not something I've been doing. And so to try to be more empathetic, I realized for them to come into wellness from just to see me, that's a big step. That's a big change for them. And try to make that transition comfortable, try to make them feel welcome. At the same time, if they're having second thoughts or I'm not sure, that's a big step, that's a big commitment, I don't know if I could do that, I'm having a hard time just taking my meds on a daily basis when I'm supposed to take them, Then I tell them, well, I'll tell you what I told my mom. My mom had cancer, stage 3. She was going through chemo. I think it was her third or fourth round, and she was feeling tired. And she called me one day. She was crying, and she said, "Brockway, I can't do this no more. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm in pain. I don't feel like it's working. I don't want to. I don't want to do this." And the doctors had told her prior to this that if she didn't fulfill that fourth round, the cancer wouldn't be manageable, and she would end up ultimately losing her life.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, being a motivator and a coach, I tell my mom what I tell my patients all the time is, I said, "Mom, you did a great job. I love you. I'm successful. My sister's successful. You're a great mom, a great parent. You lived a good life. I understand that you don't want to do this, but think about my kids, your grandbabies. If you don't keep fighting, they're going to be heartbroken, and there's nothing I could do about it."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "If you don't keep battling, there's nothing I can do about it because you're going to pass it and you're going to break their hearts." I said, "So if you don't want to do it for me, if you don't want to do it for yourself, then please do it for your grandbabies.
Mm-hmm.
Do it." I said, "Even if it doesn't work and you pass, at least I could tell them, babies, grandma loved you so much. She fought with everything she had till the very end." And my mom broke down, started crying, and she started yelling. She said, "Okay, I'll keep doing it."
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I had to have that own conversation with my own mom. And to have that conversation with other people is like, if I could talk to my mom that way, like I said, even though I'm a grown man, she's still my mom. It's not like I talk to her the same tone or that way I talk to some of my patients. But for me, it was a good experience. Hindsight, my mom made it through. She was able to battle through it. Her cancer's in remission. She has to get checked every 3 to 6 months, and but it helped me be a better trainer, better fitness specialist. Because now I use that experience and that empathy and that mindset to talk to patients, especially the elders, because they're stubborn. They're set in their ways. But when I talk to them that way, I tell them, if you don't want to do it for yourself, then do it for the others in your family. Maybe not your kids, maybe your grandkids. Think about how old they are. Do you want to be around for the next few years, or do you want to watch them graduate high school,
Mm-hmm.
possibly graduate college? I said, you being around an extra 5 to 10 years is the difference between watching them graduate middle school or watching them graduate college, get married, have grandbabies. I said, I said, you can't think of it of yourself. You have to think about other people that are dependent upon you, that are strong enough for you not to be in their lives. And so I'm saying this because I deal with a lot of some of the elders that come in. It really makes them think.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, okay, I'll try. And once they try, then they realize, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. I do feel better. I start to have more energy. And what happens, they start to turn that corner and they start to look forward to that interaction. They start to look forward to being active. And people in their family knows. And so I feel blessed of the experiences I've had. And one time I remember praying, asking God, I want to be one of the great motivators in Indian country. And speaking of my mom, then God was saying, well, you want to motivate people? Here, motivate your mom.
Oh man.
And that was I thought, oh, I'm just going to ask for this question. I think God will put me on that path. I'm already at this level. But when I asked that, I had to put my money where my mouth was, and God was saying, well, now motivate your mom. And like being a grown man, that's always your mama. And it was different. It was. I know my mom. It was. She wasn't used to me talking to her in that type of tone or that way. Uh, uh, but it worked, and I think it made me a better trainer. And so I always had that experience in my back pocket. And when patients come in, I try to use that to get them to change themselves, because a lot of people don't want to change. A lot of people are stubborn, saying, "Well, I already lived this life. I don't like this. I don't want to change how I eat. I like eating fried bread. I like doing this. I like doing this, and I don't like exercise. I don't like being active. I don't even like sweating. Um, and I recognize those are issues that they've been established for X amount of years, their whole life. And how do you combat that? And my reply is, if you don't want to do it for yourself, then do it for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have that other person in our lives that we'll do things for because we love them. And so I try to use that to try to motivate some of my clients to at least try.
Right. So it sounds like a huge part of your job and your training is educating people. Am I correct?
Yeah. And so one of the things I try to educate people on is to recognize if they have type 2 diabetes. I say that because I feel like my expertise is weightlifting, and football, and then the next step below would be type 2 diabetes. And so one of the things I tell people with type 2 diabetes, I say, if you don't remember anything I said or any of this one visit, remember this one thing and ask your provider, ask your diabetes educator, or ask somebody in your family, and that's preserve your pancreas.
Mm-hmm.
And so they look at me, well, what does that mean? I said, well, your pancreas is what produces insulin in your body. Insulin in your body is what is able to lower your blood sugar. So if you have a high A1C or a high fasting blood sugar, then that means your pancreas isn't producing enough insulin, or that it is producing enough insulin, but because you've been putting a lot of sugar into your diet, whether it be drinks or food, uh, or candy or anything else, now your body's becoming insulin resistant because your pancreas is posting so much insulin into your bloodstream that your body's saying, well, that's too much. We don't need this much. It's unhealthy. And what happens? Your sugars continue to stay high. Your A1C is high. And so if you preserve your pancreas, then that means the person is going to understand how their pancreas functions, how that affects type 2 diabetes, how type 2 diabetes is directly linked to the function of your pancreas. And so I always try to tell them, preserve your pancreas. So if you're listening right now and you have type 2 diabetes, preserve your pancreas. If you don't know what that means, ask your provider, ask your diabetes educator, because it will really help you in your type 2 diabetes management.
That's awesome. So, another question I have for you. So, did your success happen overnight, or was it a process?
Man, it was a process. I think, like you said before, when you played football when you were younger, I think part of me was self-awareness, trying to find out what I was good at, trying to find out where I fit growing up. Luckily, sometimes you need guidance. Football coach reached out to me and saw my aggression, saw my toughness, and thought maybe he might be a good football player. And I'm thankful for that and that guidance, that direction, because it helped me become aware of I might not be the best athlete, but I'm a hard worker. I might not be the best, the smartest student, but I could get good enough grades to get a C and start playing football. And it's been like that through my life, growing up. After I got out of high school, like I said before, the coach saw me and said, "Hey, I think you'd be a good trainer. You're already training 8 to 10 of our best football players on the team. Why don't you do this for a living? You're good." And so I think some part of things happening overnight or not happening overnight, it's about believing in what you're doing and believing in what you're pursuing. And sometimes that requires other people believing in us so that we can believe in ourselves. And then having the fortitude and the relentlessness to continue to pursue it, to continue to get better. And like I always tell people with my world record, I said, what's most impressive to me about my world record isn't the fact that I set a world record and I was the strongest at the NFL Combine. I was the strongest on every team I ever played for, strongest in LA County as a high school football player. But it's the fact that my standards have risen over the years to where I could walk into Define Fitness today in Farmington and match my world record. And if you would have told me that back in the days when I was younger, that once you set a world record, it's not your all-time best. That's just the standard of to where you're at and where you're going to continue to be because of the work ethic and the things that you have learned to get you there. And that process that has been year after year after year after year after year, I couldn't have even imagined that. And so nothing happens overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Success isn't overnight. I've been doing Strong Warriors for 8 years, and we're just now, I feel like, getting to where people are starting to notice. Not just notice the brand and the name, but to recognize, man, if Strong Warriors are involved in that event, I'm gonna go because they do high quality events. I like how they do things, the presentation. I like what they're doing. They're involved in uh, meaningful big events and programs, and so success doesn't happen overnight. Success, it's all objective too. Some people might look at what I'm doing and say, "Well, you're not that successful. You never made it to the NFL. You never made it to Canada football." But to me, it is success because I know one thing that other people don't. That I should have never made it as far as I did. I should have never set a world record. But because I outworked people and I continued to outwork them over a period of time, I was able to set a world record. I was able to do things, get a career. And so success, it's a journey. It's not a destination.
Nice. I like that. That's powerful. So you talked about it taking 8 years to build Strong Warrior. How did you build a large social media following?
Well, it goes back to self awareness. I mean, I just thought, oh, if I come up with a cool logo, cool colors, and if I do this thing and make it about Native pride, Indians everywhere will like it. People will like it just because they like it. Because if they're Native, they should like it. And when we first started it, man, it didn't even grow. Like some of my own family members, like, I don't want to like that thing, or I don't really see your vision, or that sounds nice, but it's all talk. And so for me, it was a little upsetting, humbling, but at the same time, they were right. It's all talk. Everything I was talking about, what I want Stronger Warriors to be, where I envisioned it, how I imagined it, it was all talk. It was just planned, and I think sometimes we get caught up in the idea of things than the actual thing. And so it really got me to really reanalyze, self-assess myself, and say, well, it's not growing because I'm not doing. And the learning is in the doing. I don't know exactly how to do the best events. I mean, I used to be powerlifter. I was coaching in Oklahoma, so I was always the squad judge at the big powerlifting meets. And I thought, well, I already know how to judge. I already been a lifter. Might as well put that start doing my own events, and we'll see where it goes. And year after year, got better, got better to where now our next big weightlifting event is going to be September 15th at Define Fitness. Fox Sports Radio will be there. The city of Farmington, Jolt Your Journey is going to be part of it. Smoothie King is going to be there giving out smoothies to the lifters. We already got a sponsor that's going to give away some barbells and some weights to the competitor winners. And the police department will be behind it again. And I think, man, if I would have never started doing this, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And when I first started, the funny thing is, I thought, oh yeah, the police department will be there. I could get this sponsor. I could get this sponsor. They could be there. They'll be there because it's a good thing. But the proof is in the pudding, man. Like, the more you do, the more people will help.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes back to that mentality that I've always had growing up: is God helps those who help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because when I first started thinking about starting Strong Warriors back in 2010, I thought, oh, this is a good thing. People will help because it's a good thing. But I had no results, I didn't have produced nothing to that point yet. And so I started doing, and that's where we got the weightlifting club going. That was success. So luckily got to put in a newspaper, got some support, started gaining our following, and just kept doing. Event after event, program after program, outreach after outreach to different boarding schools, and we got a pretty good following. Now I think we're still growing. We're growing pretty fast, but people are starting to take notice, and not just people in general. I'm talking people of influence, other tribal directors or chairmen or leaders. For instance, I haven't really put this on social media. It's the first time I mentioned it to social media, but in 2 weeks, in the middle of July, leading the outreach. I was asked by some tribal members from the Supai Nation to go down and do some motivational speaking and do a community fitness gathering to bring the community together for healing because they've had 3 suicides this past year.
Wow.
And I'm not no suicide expert, suicide prevention expert, but one thing I do know is about motivating people and encouraging people. At the same time, my events are good events, not because they're good events, but because they're good experiences. And I recognize that. Like, this might be one of the few times where the grandparents and grandkids are able to have fun and be active and be healthy, but then have memories that go along with that and have associating. Man, I remember when that big guy, that Strong Warriors guy, came down to the Grand Canyon and man, he gave out shirts and and we had these fun activities that were engaging. Or even if the grandparents don't participate, they just sit there and watch the grandkids laugh, smile, play, and be active. To me, understanding that in our communities, that these aren't just events, but I want these to be experiences because that's what life's all about, experiences and memories. And you want to share those with the people you love. And at the same time, we're planting seeds. People are always going to think about, I remember the first time I hit 300 pounds on a bench press was at Strong Warriors event. I remember the first time I did a 5K was at the Strong Warriors event. I remember the first time I saw my grandson, he was running and I thought, dang, he could be an athlete. And it was that Strong Warriors Steel Builders mini obstacle course. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to focus on. One of the things we're headed towards in 2 weeks is to do the Grand Canyon. I haven't really put that out there yet because it's more it's for their people. I'll share that with everybody. I'm supposed to read it today or whenever we post this, and then I'll start talking about that because I think that's, to me, it's special to even have the opportunity that other tribes would invite me and to their communities to bring positivity and to recognize that they see what I'm doing, and to me that invite is, we see what you're doing, we like what you're doing, and we want you to come to our tribe and do that for us. And like you said, you saw that video last week. I had the opportunity to go to the Indian tribe up in Fort Duchesne, and this was the second year doing it, and we're already talking about next year. And to me, that experience is a blessing to share moments and memories and experiences with that tribe for my own personal stuff. It's something I'll never forget. So anyway, that's kind of how we built Strong Warriors and how it started, and we continue to gain a following. And I always say it's not for everybody,
Right.
but it's not meant to be. It's like I put out motivational videos all the time, and really those motivational videos are for me. Daily reminder, okay? Like keep going, don't quit, don't stop now. And so I just need to share them because if it's speaking to me, then maybe it might speak to somebody else. And every time I do share them, people message or they comment, and it helps them because they're going through something similar, or those are words that they needed to hear. And to me, that was just validation that what I'm doing is the right thing, and the right thing's always good to do. So
that's true. So how can people contact you if they want an event, if you want a motivational talk, or if they want you to train them?
Oh, well, they could message us on Facebook. We're at Strong Warriors Classic on Facebook page. Then we're on Instagram at Original Strong Warriors. Or they could go to our website, www.strongwarriors.com, and just click on Contact. And then I have emails pop up, and they could just submit an email to that. So
that's awesome. So is there anything else you would like to share?
Yeah, I just want to say it's a blessing to be on this podcast. I appreciate you taking the time and reaching out to me and noticing the things that we're doing. I'm proud of them. Also, keep me in your prayers and your thoughts, and just put that positive energy, positive vibes out. We're going to go on July 14th or July 15th and 16th down to the Grand Canyon and do positive activities for the Supai Nation down there. and I'm gonna do a motivational speech, trying to just bring the community together for community healing. Like I said, they had 3 suicides this past year, and a lot of them are in desperate need of just encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe in karma. I believe that positivity always wins. And if you're watching this or hearing this, please say, even if it's just a short little prayer, just say, hey, pray for Toqua-Hanai Nation. Don't pray for me, just pray for them, because they're the ones that need it. I know I'm going to go down there, do my best. However the event turns out, to me, that's what it was meant to be. And so God has allowed this door to open. And I never thought I would be going down to the Grand Canyon or anything like that. But when somebody is in need, man, I feel fortunate that I'm able to go and help and do what I'm good at and do my best. And hopefully the community is able to take a lot from this event. And so just keep the Toqua-Hanai Nation in your prayers. Then also keep me in your prayers that things will continue to happen. And I'll be able to go with other communities and do what I'm already doing.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate the work you've been doing. Like I said, I've been seeing you all over social media, people sharing your stuff, your content. And I think that's what it takes. Just keep grinding, and we need people like you out there motivating our youth and inspiring them. And but we are all set with this interview. If you could send me a picture for the background of the podcast, that way people can connect you. If you want your logo on there, that'll be fine too. So we're all set, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to my podcast. Like my page on Facebook for daily inspirational quotes with pictures from Indian country, and for other podcast interviews with successful Native or Indigenous people.